Hi everyone, I'm back today with a couple of autumn themed journals. Both of these are very similar. They have similar inserts, they have similar pages inside. The fabrics will be different, and then the cover image is different on both of them. So they are both made with a base of craft cardstock. And then I have adhered to that some different papers. Now, some of these papers are from the Prima autumn collection from a couple of years ago. I've forgotten now the name of it, but it really was beautiful. And so I did have some scraps left and I wanted to use them. So I have done sewing around the front and back cover and then around the image as well. And the back is the same. And then I've got a rusted book plate here with a little stamped notes insert, a little bit of lace and some sheer fabric that I've just coffee dyed and then gathered, some buttons, and then some cheesecloth here, and just this really pretty fall image. So that's the first one. The second one, I've used a little bit of that Prima paper again. It's the different pattern. So the same things on the front with the different image. I've done the sewing around, and then the back is the same. Now, I had intended these to be used without any kind of closure, but because there's so many inserts, they really would not stay closed. So I've just added a little bit of this ribbon trim, which when you take all the inserts out, these will lie flat, so you can use that trim to close it or not. But this was my intended front cover for these. Now, I've also used some tape here. This is just plain Scotch tape, but I have aged it by adding some caramel alcohol, Tim Holtz alcohol ink to it. And that was, you can find that little tutorial over on Ephemera's Vintage Garden. Debbie Ann Parent showed us how to do that, and it really gives the look of aged tape. So I thought it went well with this this theme, so you will see that as I go through. So let me take you inside, and as I mentioned, these are both very similar. And I've gone with very fall colors. Just some printable journal cards. This one I've made, added some of that tape and my favorite note stamp. This is just some craft paper that's coffee dyed. I've got a little bit of trim on the sides there. In this, I've got this vintage envelope and just this fall image. So there's a mix of real vintage ephemera, fall ephemera in here, and just printables. So here, this is an image from the Prima paper. This is, sorry, I've used these rusty paper clips and they can be difficult sometimes, so let me just take that off. That's from the Prima paper. This is a vintage Thanksgiving greeting card, just a vintage receipt, and then a window envelope that I have coffee dyed there. And I've got just some trim that I've gathered and a rusty bulb pin that I've added a few beads to. And a little bag here that I've added an image and some trims to. And then these are just a couple of journaling cards that come from that Prima collection. Some vintage ledger paper, yellow and turquoise. One of my long envelopes that I like to add, and I've just sewn on some sheer fabric that's coffee dyed and added some trims here, and then just an alterations tag there. I've added more of that tape and a little fabric tab there. I've added a long glassine craft bag, and I don't have anything in it here. I thought that was great to add a tag or, you know, some kind of memorabilia that you might have from the fall season. And I thought these would be great just to capture fall memories, memories of Thanksgiving. Just really lots of room for journaling and pictures. On this side of the short green paper, I've got just this fun apple crisp recipe. This is a vintage guest check, and then an image there that you could add in. And on this side, this is a journaling card from the collection. This is some vintage lace trim that I've added as a pocket. That's a vintage receipt. This fun pumpkin pie journaling card. And this is a vintage French tag. Great craft color. And then in this little bag, which I have coffee dyed, I've added, I can get them all out now, I've added a little bit of trim here that you can see some of that lace and some gathered fabric and a cute little button. And then inside I've got some things that I thought would be good for journaling your fall memories. So one of those notes tags, and then I've stamped out September, October, and November here. I thought they'd be great to add on a title page for each month. And then I've just got a couple of flashcards there in a fall theme. Then I've added more of that tape. On this side, I've added some extra journaling space just with some coffee dyed note paper, and those are from Michaels from a few years ago now. Another fabric tab here with some buttons and just some trim there. And the other side of that bag, there's another fall floral image, and I've just added some gathered seam binding. Couldn't find my words there. And some buttons. And that image is from that Prima paper. This is just a top tuck spot. I've added, I don't know if you can see it, a little bit more of that tape. Just another ruffle here, and this pretty peach price tag. And another pocket here, and just with some extra journaling cards. So you can see there's lots in here, and so it would lie flat if all of these journaling cards and so on were not in it. And in the back here I have just this, it's a printable, just a verse about autumn, and then I've just added a library card there. So that's the first one. And let me show you the other one. It is, as I mentioned, very similar. It will just have a few different fabrics inside. So there's the cover. This is Tsunami Rose paper. It's really beautiful. So same inserts here. I've got a different seam binding on that side. Same inserts, that same vintage envelope. Here's the long pocket, long envelope made into a pocket. This is the first bag here, and it has a different image here, but the same inserts. And the same bulb pin with the beads on it. And these are the same inserts as the other. And I really love how this turned out. I just pieced together some fabrics and then gathered them. I thought that went well with this cover image. And I have the same journaling cards here, but I have the other floral image there, and then that's from the Prima collection. And the same inserts here. I have the same month tabs there, and then these are the flashcards for this one. And I've got some tape there, and that peach price tag, and this is the image on the other half of the paper bag. And again, that top tuck spot, and tab with the buttons. So the same inserts, and that is the floral journaling card. And the same library pocket. So those are both available now in my Etsy shop. So if you love fall like I do, these are perfect to keep your memories of the fall colors, any trip you might take, your Thanksgiving dinner. And let me show you one that I had made for myself a couple of years ago. So I've done a lot of journaling in this. This was actually a couple of falls, but you can see I just took pictures of my projects that I had made, and my decoration, and my florals that I had at the front. I went on a trip, so I've just done that. I was at a wedding, so lots of different things that I have added. That was my fall decoration that year. Some of my favorite potpourri. So Thanksgiving dinner. My sweet dog that I don't have sadly anymore. She passed earlier this year. So I do love that I have been able to have pictures of her in this journal. And then yeah, I had a couple of extra pages I didn't use. But that is really kind of what the intent of these journals would be. So that just gives you an idea of how you can use them. So as I mentioned, these are available in my Etsy shop. And if you're interested, please run over and have a look. Thanks everyone. I will see you all again soon.